So Blogging Your Passion University was the step-by-step tutorial videos I wish I would have had when I first started. And so we have it broken down into 101, 201, 301, and then we do this separate course inside the university called Teach Your Passion.
This is Steve Atwell, and you're listening to Education Hackers.
Today we have Jonathan-Milligan on the show and in the hot seat. Jonathan is a successful author, blogger, speaker, and career coach, and has been featured on LifeHacker, BlogWorld, and BusinessWeek. He has spent the last decade counseling, guiding, and directing career professionals on how to pursue meaningful work. Since 2009, Jonathan has been building a portable lifestyle business through blogging. Today, he teaches others the roadmap to doing the same. His primary blogs are jonathan-milligan.com and bloggingyourpassion.com. He resides in Jacksonville, Florida with his wife and 2 kids. So Jonathan, you recently shared a Bruce Lee quote that goes something like this: "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do." Are you a big Bruce Lee fan? Are you even old enough to know who Bruce Lee is?
I know Bruce Lee. I've seen some of his work, but I can't say that I'm a huge fan. I just love that quote because it shakes me out of my wanting to learn everything before I apply it. Sometimes that is more than half the battle that we go through, especially as people who have a desire to share with people a message, or we want to educate them in some way. And we got to get our message out there, and it really begins by being active.
That's really true. Taking action. We all have ideas and we all want to do things, but it's action that really gets them done. And a lot of times we have all these fears and we have to just do. We just have to do it. As we do it, we get over those fears, and eventually we realize, well, there was nothing really to be afraid of. So that's great. And are you any relation to the famous comedian Spike Milligan?
No, I'm not, but I do know of him as well.
Yeah, I actually grew up with Spike Milligan, a very, very funny British-Irish comedian, if anybody wants to look him up. So before we get into your online courses and business, tell us how you like to relax when you're not working.
I've got a couple different things I do. First of all, I work from home. So typically what I'll do is I work in focus sessions and for about an hour. Actually, I was even doing this morning. And then I'll break and I'll intentionally just do something away from the computer, away from my home office. And that could be a variety of things. So I like taking walks outside or riding my bike, or every day when my kids come home from school, I intentionally end my work for a few minutes and spend time with them. I love the backyard that I have. I have a pond in the back and it backs up to the woods. And so I enjoy going back there. I intentionally take Friday mornings off to go and do something away from work. So that part of me is very important. I think we forget about the play element of work that is so vital to our creativity and keeping us fresh, because sitting in a seat and just working on a computer will make you dull, and you have to get out and away. And I think my best ideas come when I'm out and away from my computer.
Yeah, that's very true. I like to go for nice, long 10-kilometer walks along the Fraser River here in Burnaby, BC. And I like the fresh air, those negative ions, especially after it's rained. And they always say that the worst thing next to smoking is sitting in a chair for very long, extended periods of time. It's very unhealthy for you. So what was your passion before you created Blogging Your Passion University and the related courses?
Well, I was actually on my journey of figuring out what my passion was. I was originally out of college, a high school teacher, and did that for a couple of years. I enjoy the mentoring, the relationships, the educating, seeing the light bulbs come on, but it wasn't the right context for me. So I began this journey of figuring out, I have this entrepreneurial bug, this free spirit, and I still had this passion for wanting to teach others and wasn't sure how that was going to play out. I actually leaned into starting with a company that was an executive search company. I did that for about 7 years, really began to understand the job search process. And then finally I said, I still want to make a bigger impact than just, the people I'm helping find a job throughout the year. And so I fell into this thing called blogging. And originally, I started looking around thinking about, what should I talk about? Maybe I should blog about things that will make me money. So I kind of went down that journey. I was unhappy, unfulfilled with that. And finally, I just said, you know what? I just got to really blog my passion. And one of my passions is being resourceful. I love to learn and then turn around and teach that to others. And so I knew I could do that with the job search area since I'd spent a lot of my time in that small little slice of a career that most people try to avoid, and that's the job search. Most professionals want to just, of course, it makes sense. They want to be great at what they do, not at searching for a job. And so I started sharing my expertise there. And then I also really have a passion for self-productivity and time management. And that's where my whole passion for my podcast, Simple Life Habits, came from. And so in doing that, that's when I began to see success in my online business is taking the passions I had, matching them up with the needs of my audience and putting them into courses that I could help solve problems through the online courses that I was creating. And so that's what really essentially launched Blogging Your Passion. It was the opportunity for me to kind of walk other people through that journey, regardless of what passion they had.
So you determined there was a need for it, and then you just went ahead and you actually created a university, what you call a university, because you have a bunch of courses, and Blogging Your Passion University has lots of videos. It has at least 4 courses right now. So tell us more about Blogging Your Passion University, a bird's eye view. How many courses are there? Who are they for, and why should people be signing up for them?
Okay, so Blogging Your Passion University was the step-by-step tutorial videos I wish I would have had when I first started. And so we have it broken down into 101, 201, 301, and then we do this separate course inside the university called Teach Your Passion. So I'll briefly explain each. 101 is for the person who says, I have something that I'm passionate about. I have a message that I'd like to get out there, something that I think could really help a lot of people, but I don't know how to get started. And that's what 101 is designed to do. It's designed to help people go from this idea that they have to actually having a blog, a home base, a website, whatever you want to call it, set up. And it's set up on the right foundation in the right way, and everything's ready to go. And so by the time you get to the end of 101, you now understand, you've picked the right domain name, you understand who your audience is, you've identified your passion, and you know how to use WordPress, which is what a lot of people use to get their message out there. And so 201 is really designed to help those who've been blogging for a little while, but they've yet to really get some traffic. And so 201 is really focused on helping someone create those keystone habits, and there's 4 that we teach, those 4 keystone habits to really help to grow your audience and start beginning to take this hobby thing that you're working on the side and turn it into a real business. And then that's what 301 is designed to do. It's really to help you understand, how do I take something that's a passionate idea I have and turn it into an online business? And so we walk you through those steps. And then finally, we have Teach Your Passion, which is just my 6-step blueprint for how I've created courses. I launched my first course back in 2010, and I've created over 10 online courses now over a variety of topics of areas that I'm passionate about. And it's just my simple blueprint, the 6-step blueprint that I've used over and over again to teach courses.
Now, each course has a bunch of videos. The 101 has 22 plus videos. The 201 has over 40 videos. The 301 has 40 plus videos, as well as downloadable PDFs. And do you get into some of the security aspects of WordPress? Do you recommend specific frameworks when it comes to WordPress? How to prevent maybe people from hacking into your website as well, the security side of things?
Yes, we do talk about that, and we go into like the plugins that we recommend, some services that are good services that you should think about or be a part of. So we share that, and we also actually have video tutorials that kind of walk a person through that process, so that in 101 it kind of takes out some of that mystery for people.
Great. One of the key things is also backup. Once you've created your website, you want to make sure it's backed up in case anything happens, and you want to be able to restore it or recover it. Say you take it somewhere else and maybe create another website and duplicate it. I always tell people security and backing up your data are key things. You also have another course, a Kindle publishing course. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so a couple years ago, decided that, I wanted to publish a Kindle book. And so I began to do a lot of research, trying to figure out how do you go about this, spending some of my own time walking through that process. And I just got to the place, Steve, where it started to become a little bit overwhelming, and there were so many different variables, and it was stopping me from taking action. Go back to the Bruce Lee quote we talked about earlier. And so I finally said, okay, what do I need to do to get something out there? Not just anything. I want it to be quality, but at the same time, it was overwhelming, which is for a lot of people to think about writing this, entire book and getting it out there on the Kindle. It takes a lot of work and dedication, and there's some pieces that you need to learn. And so finally, I broke it down to, instead of trying to write this massive, 60 to 80,000 word book, what if I broke it down into a book series? And I just focused on the first section of that. And so it was a career book. And so that's where I started, was just starting with the first part of that, the first part in a book series. And so that first Kindle book was somewhere around, I believe, 15,000 words. And I got it done in 30 days and published it. And so when I started talking about that with other people, they said, well, man, how did you do that? Can you share that with me? And so that's what began the process of launching a course that I offer every fall. It's called Kindle Your Passion. And Kindle Your Passion is for people who are getting stuck in the process and they want to create and publish a Kindle book in 30 days. And so we actually have 4 modules inside the course that helps people walk through that step where they can literally do this in 30 days and have their book up on Amazon. So it's a fun process. It's something we open up here and there. It's currently not open right now, but people can get on the waiting list for the next time that we do open it. But we just opened it up this past fall and had a bunch of students go through it. And we've seen a lot of our students get books out there on Amazon for the first time. So that's been a fun process to help people take something big and daunting like writing a Kindle book and break it down and help them get it done in 30 days.
That's a really good thing because I wrote 50,000 words in 1 month as part of NaNoWriMo last year. And in case people don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it stands for National Novel Writing Month, which is November. And there's an associated website, nanowrimo.org. And it's all free. You sign up and then you kind of compete with your fellow writers in your city, your country, and then your country competes against other countries, and it kind of motivates you to write more each day. And you can keep track of your stats as you write, so you can keep track of how many words you've written every day. Quite interesting platform that they have. The funny thing is, when I wrote 50,000 words, it was a semi-humorous autobiography, and it took me from age about 6 to 19. So I think I have to write a few more books to get up to where I am right now. Yeah, so you have a bunch of courses. Actually, you have other courses too. You have a course on how to use Evernote. I think it's called EverFocus. So is that part of this Blogging Your Passion University, or is that separate from that?
Yeah, it's a bit separate. I mean, it can work for a blogger, but this is one of the courses I sell on my personal blog, jonathan-milligan.com. And it was a way for me, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a blogger, speaker, or writer, most of those creative professions like that, many of them don't have a boss. They're entrepreneurs in and of themselves. And so sometimes it's difficult for us to be able to manage our ideas because ideas are coming in fast and furious. And we get excited about new ideas, and meanwhile, other things get left undone. And so I was getting tired of chasing after new ideas instead of following through on some of the great ideas I'd already had. And so I literally, over the course of a few months, I took Evernote, which is something I've been using for a long time, and I kind of developed a process for a place to put your ideas. I call it my idea incubation list, and then breaking down those ideas into projects which lead to getting things done. And so that is a Evernote course that is called the Ever Focus System for Creatives. And it's really to help a lot of those creative professions manage their ideas, but also follow through on their ideas as well. I talk about the importance of wearing two hats. You've got the boss hat that you have to wear, and you got the worker hat, and you need to know which hat you're wearing when. And that is how you get things done. You can't spend too much time in the boss hat where you're always planning, strategizing. You need to sometimes put those overalls on and get to work and wear that worker hat as well. And so that course really helps you to understand, at least it's my own attempt. And I'm hoping that it can be helpful to others. And it seems like it really has helped others. Because as you know, Steve, a lot of creative professions, they don't like to be boxed in to something too rigid. A lot of creatives want you to draw the box, but then they want to have plenty of room to color inside the box. And so that's what this course is designed to do.
There are people out there that like to use both sides of their brain. There are creatives that like to be organized, and there are very technical people that like to write and be more creative. So if you can find a balance, that's actually awesome. It really helps you do what you want to do and accomplish what you want to accomplish. So what was your biggest mistake when you were creating Blogging Your Passion University?
I would say it was probably... If I would say the biggest mistake would be probably taking too long to create the course. There was too much time in between when we released 101 and to the point where we released 201, and then took even more time between 201 and 301. Looking back, I wish I would have just been bullheaded and just kept moving through because, as a customer, when you get to the end of something and if you enjoyed the process, you're ready to go to the next level. And it can be frustrating if you don't have that next step to be ready to jump into. And so looking back, that was probably the big thing, is probably taking too long to create it. And then the second thing, which has been really helpful, and maybe I couldn't have done this at the very beginning, but I'm actually right now in the middle of doing a 2.0 version of Blogging Your Passion. And what's been helpful for me for this, Steve, is to actually set up a framework. It's a one-page PDF that I've put together, actually paid a designer to create it. And it really takes everything that we teach inside Blogging Your Passion and puts it on one page. It's a framework that a student can see what are the steps to go from just getting started to reaching that level of being a full-time blogger. And I call it the 15 success traits of pro bloggers, and it's actually a success pyramid. And you can see it on one page PDF, the entire university, and what you're going to get out of following the path. So I think that's been helpful. I wish I would have started that framework from the beginning, because it really would have helped me to see the big picture of where I was trying to take people. Because when I look back at some of the courses, I can see certain videos that kind of overlap because there was distance between them. Had I had a framework, it would have helped me to be able to help the student learn what they needed to learn, when and where. So those are ways that I think that this 2.0 version is going to be a lot better.
And what was your workflow like when you created your courses? Did you plan them out in minute detail before you hit the record button? Did you set a deadline to finish each one? When did you know that a course was finished to your satisfaction?
Well, first of all, I think it's getting that clear purpose statement. It's almost, I call it the promise. It's the promise of the premise. You want to get real clear on what it is that you want to accomplish. What is it that a student's going to accomplish? Sometimes what we do with courses, and this is something I'm real adamant about, sometimes what we do with courses as a course creator is we think we're going to add value by plugging in as much content as possible. A quick example would be if you were to create a course called Facebook ads, and then the course became an encyclopedia of Facebook ads. I think that has a tendency to frustrate the customer who is like, I just want to figure out how you do Facebook ads. And so how do you do Facebook ads? And so if you get to your promise of saying, here's how to generate $1,000 of income from $100 of Facebook ads, and then you show them only what they need to know instead of trying to teach them stuff that you're not even using as an educator, I think that's important. And so the 101 course for me was whether the premise that we wrote down, the promise was we want to help whether you're 8 or 80, we want to help you get a blog set up. And so I had that mindset through it that every single video that I taught needed to be able to be simple and clear. In fact, all of the videos are less than 5 to 10 minutes because we want to keep it simple. We want to have a very action-oriented task that you take with each video. And so that's important. So I think having that promise and then making your videos short and actionable can really help to bring along a student.
So do you have students that are 80 years old?
I do actually have quite a few that are older. I have some that are in their 70s, and they are excited about sharing their passion. I even have one that I met that lives in the same city as me, and that person's just as excited today as they were years ago about getting their passion out there. And it's just awesome to be a part of helping people like that, regardless of age. Oh, and I do have my son. He's actually 10, but when he was 9, he wanted to start a blog on Legos. It was something he was really passionate about. And so we helped him get one started. And my daughter, who's 12, I got her started on a blog as well. So it's been fun to help people at all ages kind of get started.
So are the kids making money? Are they going to pay for their own education?
That's what I would like to do. I'd like to get them on it, doing it a little bit more than they are doing it. But of course, they got school, they got other things. I got a store, an Amazon store set up for my son with all about Legos. My daughter is really getting into YouTube videos. A lot of her people that she follows is on YouTube, which is hugely popular right now with preteens and teens of following people on YouTube. And so I'm kind of coaching them. I'm trying not to push them too much, but at the same time, I am trying to help them explore their own passions and see where their own gifts are. So yeah, I would say that I do help them in that way.
There are so many teenagers or young people creating YouTube videos now, and it's amazing. If you can think of something that you want to do, you can probably find it on YouTube. And in terms of the 70 or 80-year-old, do you do anything special in terms of your courses for them? Because as you get older, maybe your eyesight gets worse. Are you making any special exceptions for them for your course?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I hadn't thought about that in particular. I do know that the feedback that I've gotten from even, amongst every age, but those that are older, there's a gal who's retired, who's doing a wonderful thing with her blog, and she used our course to kind of get herself going. And the thing that she has enjoyed the most is the short, actionable videos, because, many of the older people are trying to catch up with technology, which in a way, Steve, we all are, but being able to be simple and keep things very simple is what any new beginner is going to appreciate, because what you don't want to do in a course is to have a 30-minute video, and what they need to take action on is in minute 15 of the 30-minute video. And then now they have to figure out where it is in the video. How do I go back and figure out where he said that, when? And so keeping, again, those short, actionable videos are real helpful, because we encourage them, at the end of the video, hey, before you move on to the next video, at least, get your Facebook fan page set up. So it's not like our video is going to cover all of Facebook in a 45-minute training. It's going to be, here's where you go, here's how you start one, And that's all we're going to teach in that video.
That's a really good point, actually, that you should keep your videos shorter, because if you do have a 30, 40, 50-minute video, along the way, people that are taking this course are going to have to make notes of where they found something useful. Then they're going to have to scroll back or try to figure out at what point that was. So what's your recommendation in terms of the length of each video?
I think a sweet spot is probably around 5 minutes. If you're getting to, and I've got a couple that are pushing 10 minutes, and some of those I'm reworking to even shorten. But, we have so many distractions today, and there's so many things that we're jumping here, there, and everywhere. And so I think the shorter the videos, the better, as long as you have a specific goal in mind for what that video is. My whole philosophy of keeping the short videos actually came out of a necessity. My very first course I created was a job search course. And at the time, my only options back in 2010 were to fork over $300 for Camtasia, the software. And so I didn't want to do that for screen capturing software. I didn't want to do that. And so I found they had a free version called Jing. It was free, but it only allowed for 5 minutes to record your video. And so I created my entire 18-week job search course with that free software, and every single video was under 5 minutes. And so I had to get very crystal clear at what is my point in this video. And that helped me not to ramble. It helped me to stay clear as far as, what was a necessity and what wasn't, so that I could get rid of the fluff and just focus on what they needed to learn.
That's actually funny, because you found a tool that was actually almost perfect for what you wanted to create, because you kept the videos shorter and it was free. And Jing is a nice tool. I've used Jing. What are you using to create your course videos?
So I'm using a combination of headshot talking head videos, so like off of a webcam or off a DSLR camera. So I'll do some of the talking head videos, but a lot of them are screenshots. So those screenshots, I do have Camtasia now today. I'll be using Camtasia to show people step by step if they need to see as if they were looking over my shoulder. And then other parts that are more instructional, I actually use Keynote. And there's actually a really cool record feature inside Keynote, which will allow you to record it in Keynote, your audio along with progressing through your slides, and then you can export that and upload it, and it's all ready to go. So much of what I used in Kindle Your Passion was a lot of Keynote slide recordings that I just would export and upload to my video hosting.
And where are you hosting your videos?
Yeah, so currently I am using Vimeo, and I've been using them since 2011. But there is a chance that this year I might be making a switch to Wistia. But I've also used YouTube. There's a couple courses I've used where I've actually used YouTube and then just made the videos private. So there's that option too for people. But I would say 90% of my courses right now are housed using Vimeo.
Is there a reason that you would want to move from Vimeo to Wistia?
To be honest with you, I've had, and it's been very minor, but I've had a few people talk to me about videos stopping on them, and they can't get it to play, or it only plays, let's say the video is 5 minutes long and it gets to 2 minutes and then it just stops playing. And I've done some research out there. It seems like for some people, for some reason, and it has nothing to do with their browser or whatever, there's some type of a glitch with some of the courses. And so I've been kind of working through that a little bit with Vimeo. And then the other thing that I really like about Wistia is they are committed to the education of their customer. I mean, when you sign up for Wistia, they dive into video production. Here's how they give you ideas for scripting out your videos, how to do the lighting for your videos. They have this whole learning resource that they offer to educate the person who is creating the courses. And I really like that because it's important that we stay up with the changes that are happening. So those are the few things I like about Wistia, but it would be a little bit of a move for me because I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos already on Vimeo, and so I'd have to make that move. But overall, I've been happy with Vimeo. Again, I've used them since 2011.
It's interesting comment about Wistia because they do have really, really nice training videos that really help you create the best videos that you can possibly create. So those are nice videos, and that's a nice touch that they actually train you and educate you, and they get lots of good positive karma out of that. In terms of the money side of things, have you considered the money aspect in terms of what you're going to be paying Vimeo versus Wistia?
Yeah, it's pretty close. For me, I think I only pay once a year for Vimeo. Seems like it's around $200 and some, and I pay that annually. And so Wistia is about the same price. Now, if you do the monthly, I think it's $25 a month, which would come out to about $300 a year. And I think the annual is a little bit cheaper than that. So price comparison, they're pretty close to the same.
So in terms of your blogging, your Passion University, what platform did you use to create that? You didn't use WordPress, right?
Right. Well, when I first actually launched Blogging Your Passion University, I did use a plugin, a wish list member plugin, and I used that. Still, I have some courses that you can purchase that way. But when I was surveying my audience to see where are the areas I'm still missing in the education realm of supporting them, one of the things that came back is they wanted more support and they wanted more community. And so I saw a need to start a membership site version of Blogging Your Passion University. So instead of, for instance, Steve, in the beginning, you could buy the 101 course by itself. And this new kind of university thing that I've been at for a while, it has been a monthly fee that you pay. It's $30 a month to be inside of Blogging Your Passion University, but you get access to all the courses. I do a monthly fast track class. So it keeps those out there who want to know the latest tools or the latest things that I'm using to grow my audience. I teach them that as being a student inside the university. And then actually doing one this week, I do a live hangout office hours, kind of like a Q&A call, where the members can come to me and say, this is what I'm struggling with, or I can't figure this out, or I want someone to take a look at my blog and see where I could do things better. And so it really becomes a coaching, mentoring session for all those students that show up, and we learn from each other. And so I do that once a month. And so anyways, to kind of answer your question, I looked around at platforms that was going to work the best for me for that particular scenario, and I landed on Kajabi. And so Kajabi is just Kajabi.com. You do have to pay monthly to have access to it, but it allowed me to be able to not worry so much about the technical aspects and just worry about the content. So I've moved navigation around at different times. I have adjusted things here and there, and it's been real easy to use. And it also is helpful when members log in, they can see exactly what new content's been added. So for a lot of reasons, I've really enjoyed using Kajabi to kind of manage the learning.
Did you know that Kajabi is an Aboriginal word that means to take flight?
Yeah, they did the original course, they allow you to sign up to actually use the software. It was called Flight Academy or something. And it was in that they were kind of walk you through and kind of educate you on how to get your first course set up so that you could launch your course. So yeah, it's a neat word.
Why did you not use a public online teaching platform like, say, Udemy, for example?
For the main reason, and I'm not against Udemy, I think it's a great tool, but I wanted to keep more of the profits. I wanted to do more branding. For example, those that are using Blogging Your Passion University, when they're logged in, they don't know that they're using Kajabi. It very much looks like from the time you log in to the time you're moving around, that you're in this own branded space. Then I've had some people actually tell me, and I don't know all the details of it, but something to do with wanting to have more ownership over their content as well. And again, I have not dove into that aspect of it, but I think for those reasons, I think Udemy can be good for people who don't already have a traffic or a platform or an email list. In my case, I had that before I launched the course, so it made it a little bit easier just to kind of own it myself.
Yeah, that makes sense because with Udemy, and I've talked about this with other people as well, other instructors on Udemy, if you bring in a student to your course on Udemy, then you make more money. If Udemy brings in a student to take your course through their marketing, and they do a lot of marketing, then you get a lot less money for your course per student. So you have to really do a lot of marketing. Even though you host on Udemy, you have to do a lot of marketing still in order to make the most money. I mean, obviously, Kajabi lets you use your own domain name so that it doesn't look like your stuff is hosted on Kajabi. In terms of the actual setup for Blogging Your Passion University, was there any kind of coding involved, or was it very simple?
It was actually pretty simple. The one thing because I actually started with a free trial. I think they still offer it today. And the one thing that I absolutely loved about Kajabi, and the thing that really sold me on it, was their live support chat 24/7. And so if I created a project and all of a sudden I'm like, I want to upload a header or I want to change the colors and I'm not sure how, I could hit the live chat button and they would say, oh, this is how you do this. And even sometimes they're like, oh, I'll do it for you. What is it that you're trying to do? And I could see them make the changes right there live. And so being able to hit that button and get that instant help for me was a game changer. And once you get the colors and you get your header up, the actual figuring out your navigation and your actual flow of your content, the post inside your content is simple and easy. Anybody that has either used WordPress or has used some type of a word processor can do it. And if you want to rearrange things on the back end, it's simple. It's all drag and drop. So for that, aspect of it, it's been worth the monthly cost for me. And the reason why I went with it too, Steve, is because I was launching a reoccurring membership site. So I kind of just decided that, if it's going to be a membership site, then a certain amount of my members are going to go to pay for this software. I think if you're just wanting to launch one course and it's a one-off sale, maybe Kajabi's not the best, because if you don't have a long-term plan, because eventually your costs are going to exceed your income. So that's something to think about. But for me and my purposes, it's worked great. And then on top of that, they allow you to have multiple projects, which are courses in and of themselves, and you can have domain names for each of those that look completely different. And so like my Evernote course we talked about earlier, I do have that on Kajabi because I get a certain allotment of courses that I can house in one account.
And what payment system did you end up using and why?
Yeah, so when I started off, I used PayPal, but then I needed to be able to accept credit card, especially, many people don't know this about PayPal, but if you're going to do a reoccurring membership site with your course, PayPal actually forces you to have a PayPal account, where if you're selling one-off courses, PayPal has an option where people can just, if they don't have a PayPal account, they can still use their own debit or credit card, but that option's not available for the reoccurring. They want you. So they want you to have a PayPal account. So I started getting people, Steve, that were emailing me saying, I want to join your university, but I don't have a PayPal account. And I instantly knew that was a problem. So after doing a lot of research, and there's a lot of technical aspects I don't want to go into, but I finally settled on Deal Guardian. DealGuardian.com allows me to be able to take PayPal and credit card. It allows me to see my analytics for my sales pages. It has a built-in affiliate program, and it integrates with Kajabi. And so it made it the most simplest solution for me.
Wow. I have to say, I haven't heard of Deal Guardian before, and I thought I've heard of all of them. So are they based in the US? And do they take payments from anywhere, any country around the world?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, you might want to check and see on their website. I don't know how long they've been around, but I've been using them now for a while. And like anything, there's things you like about it, things you don't. But overall, I've been super happy with using them for many reasons, especially the whole affiliate portion of it. Because I was using with PayPal, I was using eJunkie as my affiliate program, but I could not use it for a reoccurring membership site. It did not work for that. And so I needed a good affiliate program. And so it kind of allowed me to have it all under one house, which has been nice.
So how do you market your courses? What's been the most successful for you? You have podcasts. Do you use podcasts and social media, blog posts, or something else? What's been most successful to get the business?
What's most successful for me is to create a buzz launch. And that is strategic times during the year where I'm going to release really good content that is going to be super helpful whether someone buys the product or not. Some people know this as the Jeff Walker strategy, where you release videos that help. That's a great way, but regardless of what tactic you use, it's just creating some centralized focus in that area. One thing that's been really super helpful for me is doing webinars. So I'll get on a webinar, I'll share really, all the best information I can. And then at the end, I'll simply let them know that, if you've enjoyed this training, I've got more in-depth advanced training, and here's where you can get it, and usually offer a discount. So webinars have been hugely helpful for me, but all that encompasses into some type of a buzz launch around a product coming out, letting people know it's coming, providing blog post and podcast, maybe doing some video training, doing a webinar. And then also it can be a really good thing, Steve, if you actually close your course down or you have an open and close part of it. It's been helpful for me when I've done that in the past. It's something I'm probably going to go back to with the university, because it just helps when you have a bunch of students all come in at once, as opposed to kind of dripping in over time.
Actually, that's an interesting point, because I've always wondered if you have a bunch of courses or even just one course and you make all modules available at once, what's the likelihood of somebody, say, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, and somehow they capture the videos and they say, okay, bye, I want my money back now. So the one way to sort of not just prevent that, but also to provide the value so that people are actually learning, they're not just skimming over stuff, is to have maybe drip content. And you don't use drip content, you just make everything available at once. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, different courses are different. I have it kind of in a different way. My original job search course, it was drip content. It was drip content for 18 weeks. And so every week somebody got an email letting them know that the new training module was ready for them. So I've done both, but regardless of what the Teach Your Passion course, where I teach people how to create a course, that was drip content. That was over the course of 12 weeks when I did that back in the spring of this last year. So I've done both. Both have their advantages and disadvantages, but I think they both can work well.
I think it's better to just be open and not limit people, and just let them see everything that you have. So looking back, what was the one tool, software or hardware that you absolutely needed to create your online courses?
Yeah, so for me, if I got really down to like minimal, it would be video hosting, having a place to have your videos live, because I got overwhelmed with all the tools and the technology on that very first course I talked about, the job search course, and got to a place where I finally just did a password protected WordPress page. Now, that's not like the best way to go about it, but if you need a place to start, that's where you can start. And so every single person who purchased my course, they got the same password. It was Student 109. They didn't know that all of them were Student 109, but everybody got Student 109. And so behind that password protected WordPress page were the videos. And the way to get your videos to show up is you have to have a place to upload them. So if I had to say what is the essential tool for me, it would be the video hosting.
And that was Vimeo.
And that was Vimeo. Mm-hmm.
All right. So how do you support your course members? I believe you have a private discussion forum called Ask Jonathan.
Yeah. So I have first of all, there is a forum inside of Blogging Your Passion University where people can communicate and talk. And that's gone better than I expected, because most of the people that I know say that's the hardest thing to get off the ground is a forum, because it's just not where people are necessarily are. But I do also, in addition to a lot of my courses, I have private Facebook groups. And those private Facebook groups work well for allowing, first of all, a lot of people are already there. So that's why it's worked well, is because I've allowed, especially like my Kindle Your Passion course we talked about, all of my students were in this private Facebook group. And so they started posting the updates of their word counts of where they were in the process. And you could see other people like, oh man, you inspire me. I'm going to go to 2,000 more words this week or 5,000 more words. And so it creates this own buzz. You see, one of the things that I believe, if you're going to be a leader is, and if you're going to build a tribe, is you have to get out of the way and actually allow community to grow. And so I think it's a smart thing for your courses to, if you can, to have a place where your community can get to know each other. I think that's important.
And it is a lot of work making sure that you monitor it and make sure that the content and discussions are relevant and appropriate for what you're trying to accomplish. Because I have my own community online for Podcast is Tech Talk, and it's grown quite a bit. It's over 500 now. But occasionally you see a post that's totally unrelated to what the group is about. And then you have to make a decision to just either get rid of it or kind of let it run for what it is. Take a few minutes now and offer your best, most practical advice to anyone thinking of creating their first online course or training.
So if I were to sit down with you and maybe you say, I don't know all these technical aspects, I don't know what to do, I would give you 3 words. I'd write 3 words down on a napkin and I would push it over to your side of the table. And those 3 words would be speed of implementation. Don't allow yourself to begin thinking about all the different reasons why you're not good enough, that what you do isn't going to work, or feeling that need to be perfect, because pushing publish on something that's 50% of where you want it to be is better than something that's 100% that's still in your head. And so I would say break down those barriers. The very first course I did, I actually, because remember we talked about it being drip content, I actually launched it for sale. It was an 18-week course, but I launched it for sale only having created the first 2 weeks of content. I had an outline for all 18 weeks, but had yet to create the rest of it, because I knew once those first people purchased it, I was going to have a couple weeks head start before they caught up with me. And so break down any barriers. And maybe one of your barriers is, I don't want to waste my time creating this 18-week course and no one's going to buy it. Well, then create the first 2, launch it, get it out there, and begin creating or having the discipline to create the rest in front of your audience. Whatever that barrier is, break it down and just get started. You can always improve from there, but speed of implementation is so important.
Jonathan, you have provided a great deal of valuable insights and advice, and I know I can spend hours drilling you for more information, but I'm going to let you off the hook for now. Thank you so very much for being on the show. It has been a real pleasure speaking with you. Where can people reach you online?
Sure. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Steve, and inviting me to be on here today. You can find me if you love Twitter or you use Twitter. You can find me over there. My handle is John, Jon, Milligan, Milligan. You can also find a lot of my talk about productivity and careers at jonathan-milligan.com. And then if you have an interest in blogging, or you have this passion and you want to figure out a vehicle to get it out there to a lot of people, then bloggingyourpassion.com is where we provide a lot of podcasts and blog posts on how to do that. So that's where you can find me.
If you enjoyed this episode, just subscribe to the podcast and future episodes will be downloaded automatically for you. Check out the show notes at educationhackers.com to get links to resources we talked about in this episode. See you next time.